This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Alright you guys, so I wanted to make a little video today talking about a camera that's been around for quite some time. This camera is not new to the market whatsoever, but I do feel like even in 2021, even with how outdated it may seem, it still is one of the best cameras for street photography. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to go down as probably one of the most iconic cameras alongside like the Leicas. And folks, I'm just going to say it right here. It's the Ricoh GR2. This little guy right here has created a whole new breed of street photographers, people who prefer smaller cameras and just want to have something functional while maintaining a small footprint. The only real problem is this camera has been out for such a long time, and I'm sure there's probably other cameras out there, but I wanted to give you guys today 5 reasons why you should own a GR2 in 2021. Okay, so reason number 1, you guys, has to do with the GR2 size. So as you guys can already see, it's a point and shoot. Now, point and shoot cameras for street photography have become super popular, and I really do think it's because of what the GR2 has done to the whole, kind of culture. Now, generally when I go out to shoot with the GR2, I strap it over on like this little sling. Sometimes I even just put it in my jacket pocket because it's so small. You don't need to carry much other than, I would say, a couple of extra batteries. But even then, you guys, the batteries are not that big, and you can easily fit 3 or 4 of these in your pocket, and that is more than enough to last you the entire day. I generally go through around 2 to 3 in a day, and that's shooting very heavy with the camera, but you can get away with 1 or 2. On top of just the size and the comfortability of how small it is, it's also a little bit more discreet than something like your standard DSLRs or like your Canon cameras, because generally when you see somebody with, for example, like an EOS R6 and a 24-70, people are just automatically going to know that you're a photographer and you're going to be seen there. You're going to stick out like a sore thumb. So shooting with something like this makes you seem less of a threat, essentially. And so you can comfortably bring this around crowds and photograph some really nice candid street photography. And this is the reason why a lot of people prefer shooting with a small camera and why the GR2 is famous amongst street photographers. Alright, so reason number 2 alone, you guys, is probably worth this entire video, folks, and that is snap focus. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what snap focus is, basically the Ricoh GR systems, like even the GR3, has the ability to be able to set a predetermined range of focus. So for example, you can set this camera to about like 1.5 meters, 1 meters, whatever your desired distance may be. And when you full press the shutter, it'll automatically photograph to that preset distance. And so what does this mean, you guys? It just means that you can use this camera to shoot like you would a rangefinder, and you can shoot it hyperfocally and really never miss focus. The autofocus in the GR2 is not bad. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's definitely not the fastest. And so a lot of the times I do rely on that snap focus. It's, something that you have to get used to. If it's part of your shooting style already, you're gonna feel right at home with the GR2. But if you don't know what zone focusing is or shooting hyperfocally, it may be a little confusing to predetermine your focus. But for those of you guys who know what I'm talking about, somebody's walking up to you here and the autofocus isn't really doing it for you. And so all you gotta do is full press and it's gonna go to that predetermined focus range. One of the best features, I wish more cameras had it, but on the Ricoh GR cameras, it is native to it, and it's honestly a game changer for street photographers. Also, you guys, before we move on, I want to just show you guys how quiet the GR2 is. Check this out. I'm going to try to focus up here. Sounds like a little mouse click. Matter of fact, this is a Logitech MX Master 2S, the GR2. This is what a mouse click sounds like. And then this is what the GR2 sounds like when you take a photo. It's very similar. All right, you guys, really quick, I want to thank our sponsor for this episode, Squarespace. Squarespace is your all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Alright you guys, it's 2021, and if you don't have your own website just yet, you're slacking. Come on guys. In order to set yourself apart from everyone who just has their Instagram as their portfolio, you need to have your own space to be able to show your work. And to be able to build a website with something like Squarespace, it's a no-brainer. Squarespace gives you all of the powerful tools to be able to create a website in minutes, from award-winning templates to being able to create your own online e-commerce shop. You have all of the tools you need to get started. This is great for us street photographers to be able to create a portfolio and also to be able to sell prints off of our website. And overall, you guys, having your own personalized website is a very powerful tool. So I recommend you guys create your own today. Head over to squarespace.com/kingjapes or enter promo code kingjapes at checkout for 10% off your first purchase of a domain or website. Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring this episode, but let's get back into it. Alright you guys, now for reason number 3, not everyone is going to agree with me, and I am 100% okay with that. But for reason number 3, I have it down as for the image quality. The image quality on the GR2 is not bad whatsoever. I like to think of the GR2 as a very average camera. It's just really small and has all of the features that any street photographer would want. But it has 16.2 megapixels. For most people who are just posting on Instagram, making prints, nothing bigger than 24 to 36 inches, 16.2 megapixels is a lot of quality and resolution. And realistically, you guys, the photos look really good once printed. Matter of fact, some of the images in the Philippine zine were made with the GR2. And so if you guys have my zine and you guys look through there are a lot of photographs that were taken with the Ricoh GR. And as you guys can see in there, it's just stunning. The image quality, lots of nice detail. It's very sharp. And overall, you guys, 16.2 megapixels is more than enough for what a lot of people do anyways. I doubt somebody who's making photographs for poster billboards out in New York or San Francisco is gonna want to shoot with the Ricoh GR2. So I personally think that 16 megapixels is more than enough for what I do at least. Alright you guys, now moving on to reason number 4, the lens. The lens on the Ricoh GR2 has a certain magic to it. On the camera itself, it says that it's 18.3 millimeters, but in terms of 35 millimeters, it's 28 mil. That was really confusing. Let me restate that. In terms of 35 millimeter full frame, you are getting a 28 millimeter equivalent. 28 millimeter is a very versatile focal length. It's good for street photography, landscape photography, and I would always recommend this camera, especially if you are someone who just likes to take photographs every day, or maybe does a lot of traveling and wants to have a very prosumer-like model camera in their pocket at times. The lens on this thing is very, very sharp. You can't really complain, and combined with the 16 megapixels, you're gonna get a lot of good detail and resolution in your images. But one of my favorite features, you guys, is that this camera actually has a built-in macro mode. So if you've ever shot with something wide angle, you guys know that a lot of the times it's not going to have macro capabilities, but on the GR2 it does. So all you gotta really do is there's a button here on the top, and it's the flower from macro. And once you click that in, it'll adjust into macro mode, and you can get fairly close. Like I'm about, I don't know how close I am to this thing right here. Now the 28 millimeter focal length could be a good thing for some, but it also could be very bad for others. If you're looking for something that has a little bit more of a narrow focal length, look at like the Fuji X100 line of cameras. Those have native 35 millimeter equivalent lenses on there. But if you are in the crowd of the wide angle party, and you will be very happy with the Ricoh GR2. And last but not least, you guys, reason number 5 is just the ergonomics of the camera. Now, being that it is a fairly small camera, it could be troublesome for people with bigger hands. But one thing that Ricoh implemented, which I think is really, really cool, is the ability to be able to operate this camera with just one hand. almost all of the controls are on the right side. So as you hold the camera with your right hand, you can access the shutter, you can change your shutter speed or your aperture through here. You also have exposure compensation. You have a menu dial switch right here. You have this kind of, basic button layout. And there's different ways you can customize this to have different settings to make it really customized for you. The only two things that you can't control with one hand is the effects button, which is gonna pull up your different kind of Ricoh presets that are built in, which by the way, they are amazing. And secondly, the switch here for the flash. There's been multiple times where I'm on the street. Generally, I'm fiddling with my Leica, I'm changing my aperture, and it's taking my eyes off the scene. But with the Ricoh GR2, it's as simple as turning the camera on. I like to shoot this a lot in aperture priority and adjust exposure through exposure compensation. And it's all kind of just in the right hand here. It's very quick, it's very easy, and it's very convenient, and it allows you to focus more on what's in front of you and take better photographs. Now, those are pretty much the main 5 reasons why I would recommend picking one of these up in 2021. But I do want to talk about some complications that the GR2 does have, just so you know what to look out for if you are looking to purchase one of these. Now, the first one, folks, is the Ricoh GR2's lens is retractable, and it also comes out like that. Now, it seems pretty cool, but one of the issues that the GR2 is infamous for is getting dust inside of this element. And what happens when you get that dust in there is when you take photographs at like very, very small apertures like f/16, in like very, very overexposed scenes or in direct sunlight, you're gonna see those dust spots on the screen there. There's different ways you can actually get it out. I personally have been super lucky and haven't had any dust in mine just yet, but that is something to look out for if you're looking to get one of these. And the second one, you guys, is actually the price point. It's February 2021, and these cameras on eBay are going used for around $500 to $600. I would recommend picking this up used if you have the opportunity to. Getting them used is probably your best bet at striking a deal on one of these cameras, and if you are patient and if you just keep on searching and looking around, you're definitely going to be able to find one for a good price. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video, you guys. As always, I want to turn the mic over to you. Let me know if you guys have any experience with the GR2, what things you love about it, what you don't like. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know as well if you guys have any questions about the camera. I'll try my best to respond down below. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, you guys, this has been King Japes. Till next time, Note again.